Coming up in this week's horoscope, the karmic scales of justice are being balanced with this week's Libra Lunar Eclipse. So here's what it means for you and your universe. Hi all, my name is Comet and welcome to Just Another Magic Monday. And today we are gathered in the Cosmic Corner with the cosmic beverage in hand to discuss the astrology of March 25th to March 31st, 2024, and more specifically, what within this week's astrology, and honestly every week's astrology, you will feel as you navigate your daily life. And beyond just letting you know your horoscope for the week, here on Magic Monday, we strive to support you with how you can co-create with the cosmos, how you can understand these celestial cycles and rhythms and utilize them in order to navigate your world with more magic and more alignment. That's why it's called Magic Monday. So if that is something that you're into, be sure to subscribe. We're here every single week getting you dialed in for the week you're stepping into or the week that you're reflecting on. And whether you are stepping into this week or reflecting back on this week, what you need to know is that this is a tumultuous week, astrologically speaking. We are officially in the window between eclipses. And so there is this tinge, this surge, this electricity in the air of possibility as new timelines, new opportunities are speeding up, as well as grieving, potential sadness as we are clearing space, as we are letting go, as we are shedding. What you need to know about the events that transpire during this week is that they are not random. When things happen during eclipses, you get a job, you lose a job, you enter a relationship, you break up with someone, you meet someone significant, you get ghosted by someone. Regardless of what happens around eclipses, there is a higher meaning if it happens around eclipses. This is a time of fated beginnings and karmic endings. It's basically a time, a portal in which the universe throws things into our life that are meant to be there and takes away what is no longer meant to be here. A time of releasing all that is outdated and welcoming in the new timeline, the new season of your life. And it's important to know that some of us this week are experiencing that doors are being slammed in our face. Maybe we're slamming the door. There's something that we are closing the door on. We are turning our back on. We are saying no more. And the tricky thing about eclipse season is that is this little bit of a trust fall energy, because this week's eclipse on March 25th, the Libra Lunar Eclipse, which we will talk deeply about, it is more so about doors closing rather than doors opening. But one thing about eclipse is that sometimes that door has to swing shut for the new doors, the aligned doors, where our growth, where our soul journey is taking us next, to open up. It's almost like this energy around hiking and you have too much stuff in your backpack to make it to the top of the summit. And this is sort of a Libra lunar eclipse to take some stuff out of the backpack. And now for some of us, this is going to show up very dramatically. Okay, some of us are releasing a relationship, we are releasing a job, we are closing the door on a way of living. We are saying no more. This has been imbalanced for too long. I cannot continue with this. I need to get to the top of the summit. I cannot hold all of this stuff as I'm going up. Like, essentially, with North Node Aries, a lot of us are being guided to choose and prioritize ourselves, which can make us feel sensations of guilt, right, or obligation. But at the end of the day, you're the only one who's going to take you to the top of the summit. You're the only one who can fulfill and get what you desire out of life. So some individuals are shedding obligations that no longer feel aligned, relationships that no longer feel aligned, partnerships that no longer feel aligned, even just dynamics within relating that no longer feel aligned, in order to move forward towards your soul's destination with a bit more ease. And the next eclipse, April 8th, that's more so around the new doors opening, the new timelines beginning. We're more so in the energy around doors closing, relationships ending, positions at work being pivoted. Like, we're more so in the energy around what we need to clear out of our lives. We're going to see this speeding up towards what is entering our lives as we get closer and closer to the solar eclipse, which is on the North Node. And the tricky part about eclipse season, what makes it a trust fall, is that you have to trust that it's for a bigger reason. If something transpires around this time, there is a reason why this is not working out. Even if at this particular moment in time, you were like, gosh, I so wanted it to be this person, this opportunity, this thing. You will see in time why it could not be this person, this opportunity. Like, when it comes to eclipses, this is a time where fate finds you. to be quite honest with you. And it's going to find some of us in subtle ways. Definitely journal, because you can find, oh, I just met a random stranger. That could be someone who continues to build in momentum as your story progresses. And some of us could have something big occur where there could be moments of feeling quite discouraged around, wow, I really wanted that to work out. Wow, I really poured a lot into that. I'm sad that that was not reciprocated. Or wow, I really was carving my life around this certain opportunity and now I'm feeling less in alignment with it. And the trust fall part comes in that you need to trust it's setting you up for something bigger. And you may not get that clarity of why this could not work out this eclipse season. Sometimes it doesn't happen for months and months ahead, but you will see in time. I, for one, can think of 3 or 4 things that happened during eclipses that at the time I truly thought were the end of the world. I truly did not know how I was going to progress forward. And now I see not only that I did progress forward, because that's the only thing that we could do during eclipse season is walk through the door, right? If that door is slammed shut behind you, all you can do is keep pushing, right? The only way out of eclipse season is through. Not only was I able to progress through that period, but it set me up for something so much more in alignment. One time during the Cancer Capricorn eclipses, I got let go on Zoom. In this very chair, I was on a Zoom call with someone that I really loved working with, and I basically got let go, and I thought it was the end of the world. I was absolutely so devastated. I did not know how I was going to progress forward. I didn't know if I was going to be okay. And I wish I could go back to that version of me who was sitting in this chair sobbing on Zoom. I mean, a little extra, but eclipses tend to make us a little bit more emotional, a little bit more dramatic. But I wish I could tell that gal crying on Zoom, thinking her life was over because this position was not working out. I wish I could tell her, not only will you be okay, but this position not working out is going to allow you to start your own astrology business. And in a couple years' time, you'll be sitting in this very chair delivering a forecast called Magic Monday. Things that are being removed from your life are setting you up for something better. And you may not get that clarity this week, but it will be coming in. So that's where this element of trust comes into the picture. So we will discuss this energy so much more in depth, from the lunar eclipse in Libra to the fated eclipse portal to Venus sextile Uranus, all of the celestial happenings. But before we do, take a step inside my Cosmic Cafe. If you are new to Magic Monday, firstly, welcome. Secondly, Cosmic Cafe is a segment that we do here on Magic Monday where we connect on what it is that we are sipping on to start the week, as well as have some cosmic chit-chat as we do. So this week I am sipping a vanilla chai tea latte with some oat milk. It is absolutely delightful. Let me know what your eclipse season companion is. Like I said earlier, these energies can be a little bit tumultuous, so it helps to have something delightful as we ground down through all of the shifts that could be coming up for many of us within the collective. I am so excited because this week is the first 2024 live self-care astrology group class. This week, specifically Thursday, March 28th at 10 a.m. PDT, we are gathering to connect on stepping into the magic, embodying your planetary archetype. A lot of you hear me reference within Magic Monday, I'll say, oh, my Plutonians will understand this. Oh, the Uranians get this. The Neptunians understand this. And I've gotten some questions around, what does it mean to be a Neptunian? What does it mean to be a Jupiterian? And furthermore, how can I use this energy to my advantage? How can I really step into and embody this archetype? And this is going to really support the individuals if you have your own business, if you are a content creator, if you are a creator in general, around understanding what is the particular magic of my birth chart and how can I own that? How can I celebrate the gifts of what it means to have strong Jupiter within my chart, strong Uranus within my chart, strong Chiron within my chart. So within the group class, we're all getting together to connect on the dominant planetary archetypes within our birth chart. The charts of the students within the collective will be utilized within class. And furthermore, how to leverage the magic and the potency of having that dominant planetary archetype. So I'm super passionate about this topic and I'm so excited for everybody to connect. Listen, I never brag about myself, but one thing I will brag about is my community that I am a part of, because I swear the individual individuals within self-care astrology. I feel so blessed to be able to work with so many of them one-on-one, and then now getting everybody together within this group environment as well, because these individuals are some of the most compassionate, empathetic, self-aware, powerful, deeply mindful individuals that I've ever had the pleasure to connect with. I've noticed this most recent launch, a lot of Aries placements, a lot of Libra placements have joined into the collective, and I just feel so honored to help these placements, particularly through eclipse season, because Aries and Libra placements are kind of the main characters of this particular eclipse season. So it feels really potent to be able to guide and support these individuals as they are walking through this eclipse window. So if you are looking for some community, some connection, some insights just on what's coming up within your chart, how to understand your planetary archetype, and all of the other benefits of self-care astrology, make sure to check it out. I'll drop the link within the description as well as within the pinned comment. And if you sign up before Thursday, March 28th, 10 a.m. PDT, you can join for the live class. Even if you cannot make that time, recordings of the live classes are always sent out afterward to the individuals within the collective, and your chart will still be utilized with an example. So you get all of the cosmic insights during a time that aligns for you. So if you're feeling the call, I would so love to have you. Check it out below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into Vibe Check of the Week. So Vibe Check of the Week is where we essentially take all of those astrological energies that I was chatting you through and compare it to a real life scenario, so that even if you're unfamiliar with these terms that I'm throwing at you, lunar eclipse on the south node and Venus sextile Uranus, if you're like, girl, I'm just trying to get through my week, I don't understand these terms, this is a segment where we compare what the energy feels like to a real life scenario, so that even if you're unsure what could possibly occur with Venus sextile Uranus, you can tune into, oh, I've been in a similar situation to that, I can relate in this way. I'm not literally saying this exact scenario will play out within your universe, but tune into the emotion, tune into the dynamic, tune into the vibe, and you can get some hints and clues on how this week's energy is going to manifest within your reality. So this week's astrology feels like the following scenario. We will say that a couple years ago, you started a business with your best friend. We'll say it's an interior design business. Okay, we'll say it's an interior design business. The two of you started together. Your friend really has a gift for being able to conceptualize and sort of see the big picture. And then you have a gift for fulfilling all of the elements of it, for sourcing the rugs and the light fixtures and all of that. You kind of find the material. She's kind of the visionary of it all, and then you break it down into the pieces and make it happen furthermore. And your business has been successful, and your friendship definitely has gone through some shifts. It's not always easy to be in business with your friend, but the two of you started this together, and it used to feel very 50-50 in terms of what the two of you contributed. But as the years have gone on, that original agreement and the payment divide is starting to feel more and more unfair, as your friend has moved out of state, so isn't even there for the initial client visits, doesn't even fly in to see the complete vision of it all come together. Even the gift that your friend has, we'll call her Bethany, okay? Bethany had this gift for being able to conceptualize and be like, this color palette, this, and you're noticing that the blueprint, the outlines are getting like shoddier and shoddier, and it just really seems like there's a lack of effort. Meanwhile, you're out here hustling for these rugs, hustling for the furniture, picking up this individual's slack because they're not showing up to client visits, and the initial concepts are late and they're sloppy, yet when the payment comes in, it goes 50-50. And you're starting to look at this and you're like, this is not fair. This does not feel balanced. Like I said, it's a Libra lunar eclipse. Libra is a sign of scales, and a lot of us are feeling like this. And maybe not all of us have interior design businesses with our best friends, but there might be certain situations in your life where things are just feeling lopsided. What it is that you are pouring in and pouring in and pouring in, and what it is that you are receiving does not feel equal. And furthermore, just in the vibe check, you're not even feeling like your ideas or your perspective even has weight to Bethany. You're not even sure if it matters to her. Like when you say, hey, this vision looks a little shoddy, I don't want to show this to the client, Bethany is all too quick to dismiss you or not value what it is that you have to say. Meanwhile, you're picking up all the slack for Bethany and having to face your guys' clients. And you have put up with and put up with and put up with this behavior for so long in this effort to keep the peace. You've been trying to stay nice. You've been trying to be sweet. You've been the mediator. When you take Bethany's lame visions and sketches to the client's like, I don't know. You've been mediating in between, trying to make sure everybody's happy, everybody's happy, everybody's happy. Meanwhile, you're miserable. And you have been pouring in and pouring in and pouring in to make sure everybody is happy and peaceful, and that Bethany's bank account is still flush, even though she's putting in such minimal effort. And you finally have this moment in the midst of all this running around and trying to make everyone happy. You finally have this moment where you're like, am I happy here? Am I happy here? Because the ultimate call with the energy of North Node Aries is to thine own self be true. And there are certain things that you are sacrificing in this vibe check in the name of keeping this dream of the partnership alive. That's also why you couldn't advocate for yourself to Bethany, is because you guys had this dream together. You guys had this vision. You guys have this friendship together. And to bring up a negotiation of your contract in some ways is disrupting and shattering that dream around we're doing this together, we're in this together. And with the energy of North Node Aries, it's like this acknowledgement, no one's going to advocate for me like I would and like I need to in these scenarios, in these contracts, in these partnerships, in these relationships that are not fair. And it's not saying that we're saying, you know, screw everyone, screw Bethany, throw her under the bus and just take the design business. It's just saying that you finally, after putting up with this and putting up with this, are finally having this moment around, hey, this is not fair. I am part of this team. Things need to feel more balanced. Either you need to be putting in more effort or we need to renegotiate the contract. You're putting your foot down, and that's hard to do. I feel that some of us are really stepping into our power this week with this lunar eclipse in Libra. It trines Pluto. So some of us are stepping into our power, as uncomfortable as that can be, and as much as that shifts the dynamic. We see that within this week's astrology as the ruler of this lunation, the lunar eclipse in Libra, is answering to Venus, who is conjoining with Saturn. So we're standing on business. Okay, we're standing on business when it comes to love. We're standing on business. Okay, we're creating boundaries. We're having hard conversations. We're willing to disrupt harmony temporarily in order to release a cycle that has been ultimately unfulfilling and ultimately imbalanced. So we're standing on business, okay, with the ruler conjoining Saturn. And we're open to shifts because this week, the ruler of the full moon in Libra sextiles Uranus, which is about changes. So it's not approaching this cutting her out of the deal, right? Cutting her out of the business. It's saying, hey, I need to advocate for myself here. This feels imbalanced. How can we progress forward? How can we put an end to this cycle of me just feeling like an empty vessel with nothing left to give and feeling fundamentally used by you? I don't want that. I don't think you want that. How can we shift this dynamic? Because the energy of North Node in Aries, nobody will advocate for you the way that you will. And maybe you bring this matter up to Bethany, or you bring this up to somebody else in your life where you're feeling used. You're feeling imbalanced. You feel like what it is that you're putting in, what it is that you're receiving is imbalanced. There is an opportunity to shift the dynamic. Like when I say that there's a lunar eclipse in South Node, I don't want everyone to feel like, breakups and friendship breakups. Like some of us certainly, absolutely, that could be the case. But there's this opportunity around, hey, let's shift this dynamic. Let's put an end to this painful chapter and create a new chapter that feels more symbiotic, that feels more mutually fulfilling. Because there is no me and you without me and you. And it's understanding that the partnership itself cannot function if you are not staying rooted in who it is that you are, what it is that you need, and your own integrity. That's the ask of North Node Aries, is to ensure that you are advocating for yourself in your connections, in your partnerships, that you are not being a doormat, that you are not being a people pleaser, that you are not pushing down and suppressing in this effort to negotiate everything for everyone, or to mediate everything for everyone, or to be the nice person for everything and everyone. It's just this energy around no more. And putting a cycle around needing to be that, needing to be the one who, yeah, I can leave the sketches to you. You've got it. Like I think red for the living room. You go ahead and take the rest. And you just being the one who just grins and bears. It's like, okay, red, I guess I'll find upholstery and I'll find rugs and I'll design the blueprint and I'll do all of the things. But thank you for contributing red. Thank you for contributing red. Like suppressing, keeping it all hidden by a smile. There is an illusion that we are shattering. this week with the lunar eclipse opposing Neptune, because it just feels like some of us, in this effort to be perfect or to keep the peace or to be the nice one or to be the mediator, be the peacekeeper, whatever it is, some of us are realizing, I am giving everything I am to keep this veneer alive, to keep this dream alive, that I am happy doing 95% of our business while only taking 50% of the finances, that I am happy showing our clients your sloppy work when they have invested in working with us, expecting a certain experience. We are disrupting what it is that we felt like we've had to project and what it is that we felt like we've had to be for others. And ultimately, we are releasing an unfulfilling cycle. And with Venus sextile Uranus, there is an opportunity to shift the cycle, to honestly advocate for what it is that we need, to let go of certain ways of relating that are no longer serving us, and to move forward to an authentic start where we feel empowered to advocate for our own desires, for our own visions, for our own autonomy. Honestly, more on that with the Aries solar eclipse. And so there's elements of this week's astrology around understanding that your side of the scale has weight. You matter. And no connection that you are in is worthy of you disrespecting yourself or undervaluing yourself or betraying yourself by not listening to what it is that you need. The relationship and the partnership cannot function optimally until you understand that any sort of us is the combination of you and me. And if you are not happy, the partnership or the co-creation, the interior design business will suffer. You advocating for yourself does create a more mutually beneficial partnership. Now, for some of us, we're realizing me standing on business and advocating for myself, maybe that is creating an end to a connection. Maybe this person will not have me as my most empowered self. Maybe this individual got comfortable with these scales being imbalanced and is used to that dynamic and unwilling to shift. Like I said, if it happens during eclipse season, it was meant to be. It was fated to unfold this way. So this week, you may awaken to the realization that you matter. Your side of the scale has weight. Your happiness and integrity and honesty is necessary for any partnership or connection that you are in to function optimally. And if being in a relationship, being in a partnership requires you to disrespect yourself, to betray yourself, to lie to yourself, there can be dynamics of this eclipse that are making you question, is this a partnership that I want to be in? Can we close out this unfulfilling and imbalanced loop that we've been stuck in? Or is it time for me to take my life in a new direction, take this business in a new direction? So we will continue to sprinkle in details on this vibe check as we continue on within the forecast. But before we go into our day-by-day analysis, I just want to say that I am located in California, so I utilize Pacific time zone. So please adjust to your time zone as you are noting these astrological events, as for many of you, they may land at a different time than the one that I state. I also want to let you know that I do have a tendency to start talking very fast. I get excited, especially with eclipse season. So feel free to play with the playback speed here on YouTube to speed me up, to slow me down, whatever helps you process this information. And I want to let you know that all timestamps are available below should you feel called to jump to a particular day, jump back to a particular day. Without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into Monday, March 25th. So happy Monday. This is your March 25th forecast. So headline of the day's astrology is that we have the Libra Lunar Eclipse exacting on Monday, March 25th at midnight PDT. Now, I did a deep dive all signs lunar eclipse forecast that you need to make sure to check out to figure out what particular eclipse story is being activated for you, because for some, it might be a rather calm week. Maybe there's frenetic or hectic energy with those around you, but maybe your eclipse story is a little bit more subtle. Maybe there are certain epiphanies or revelations, but they're happening more so from within. Maybe there's aspects of your life that have felt imbalanced, like this energy of balance isn't showing up within your connections. It's showing up between the balance of work and life or something of that nature. So we all have a different eclipse story. So make sure to check out that forecast to figure out where exactly within your chart it is landing and thus which arenas of your life it is asking for transformation. So that video will take you much deeper. But what you need to know about this week's astrology is that lunar eclipses bring things to light. And that could be information, that could be emotions, that could be epiphanies, that could be conversations. When we think about the vibe check, it took a lot for you to get to this point. It's been a cycle. It's been a pattern where maybe initially it was 50-50, but you felt imbalanced. You felt overburdened within this connection. But nevertheless, you still put on a smile and tried to save face and tried to be everything to everybody and just tried to tell Bethany, okay, whatever you need, whatever you need, whatever you need. It's built up over some time. And finally, you just have this realization around, this is not fair to me. Because that is the crux of Libra energy. Libra is about what's fair. It's about what's just. And there are certain cycles or patterns of relating or patterns of us operating that doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel balanced. It doesn't feel just. And we're not being fair even to ourselves. Because when we talk about a full moons always happen in opposite signs. So we have the Aries sun and we have the Libra moon. And so with this energy, it's not just putting all of our blame and all of our problems around, well, Bethany's evil, because we haven't even brought these concerns to Bethany. Bethany might be evil if we bring this up and Bethany's like, I don't care, work harder. I want red for the living room. You do the rest of the work. That might be a little rude, right? But if we have not even given Bethany the opportunity to allow this behavior to be sharpened and focused around, oh my God, I've been so busy with other things. I haven't even realized how shoddy my outlines have gotten or how overburdened that you have been. We have to advocate for ourselves because people don't know until we say so. Now, for some of you, you're closing out a cycle where it's like, oh no, they know. And they've been taking and siphoning my energy happily. They love this dynamic. Now, I'm not talking to those sort of connections. But if you've been in something where you've been passive aggressive, you've been building resentment, you've been people pleasing, without even letting this person know, this lunar eclipse could be saying, hey, your partnership suffers when you are not advocating for your half of it or your side of it. Because Bethany might think everything's fine. Meanwhile, you're putting this creation of yours with all of this resentment, with all of this passive aggressiveness. It's going to leak into your connection with Bethany one way or another. And so for some of you, within your relationship, there could have been something that doesn't feel fair to you, or it's been a pattern that the two of you have been in. It's been a reoccurring argument. It's been some sort of negotiation. There's something coming up and you're being asked to honor your side of the scale and really genuinely give the other person the opportunity to rectify, whether it's a behavior or to make things more fair. We have to give people the opportunity to change or to bring things back into balance. Now, if we voice all of these things and still not changing, that's when we need to make a decision. But I want to highlight that because yes, the ruler of this lunation is with Saturn, so there's boundaries. We're realizing what I'm giving and what I'm receiving is not equal. I need to elevate my standards of what I expect from this business partnership. But there's opportunity for change. With Venus sextiling Uranus later this week, there's opportunity for change. Whether it's going to the drawing board with your contract to negotiate the split, whether it's Bethany sharpening her awareness and being like, oh my God, I had no idea you felt like this. Let me get my stuff together, right? There's opportunity for change. And it's not putting all the blame on other people. Like with the energy of the Aries sun, it's also taking personal accountability around where you have contributed to this pattern, where you have wanted to be seen as the one who could do it all and the one who doesn't get mad around having to shoulder extra burdens for the two of your co-creation and the one who saves face to clients. Like, you also have a responsibility in this. You have a responsibility within your relationship to ensure your needs are being met and that you are happy. I feel like so often, particularly with dating, I've just heard this, is that there's so much focus around, do they like me? Do they like me? Whereas the Aries sun is reminding you, like, do I like this person that I'm dating, right? Like, rather than asking, oh, does Bethany like working with me? It's like, do I like working with Bethany? Does this feel fair? It's honoring, hey, I have a role, I have a part to play here as well. And I need to advocate for that because no one's going to advocate for me like I will. Even if Bethany knows me, she doesn't know what's happening within my mind. She doesn't know all of the things I'm hiding by the shiny veneer around. No problem. You can count on me. I can do it all. People don't know what you need. You know what you need. And North Node in Aries is asking you to advocate for that and ensure that your side of the scale does feel balanced. So, within the vibe check, the situation with Bethany works out. But I want to be clear, not every connection, partnership, friendship at this moment is working out. Like some of you, there is a cycle being closed currently. It could be a fight that you've had within your relationship that you're no longer feeling is fair. You're drawing a line in the sand around, I do not want to hear those comments. Or maybe some of you, when it comes to domestic labor, there's something that needs to be redistributed. Like some of us are just closing out a certain cycle, and some of us are acknowledging like, hey, I've advocated for my side of the scale. I have said what I need. I have said things feel imbalanced, and yet things are not changing. Like this could be an energy of a certain cycle that we've had with somebody coming to a close. And I want to say that with this lunar eclipse landing in Libra, a sign that Saturn exalts in, Saturn has to do with commitments and time. And there could be something that comes up within you around, well, gosh, how could I renegotiate this business partnership when we've invested X amount of years? Or how could I break up with this person when we've been together for 3 years? Or how could I stop being friends with this person when we've been friends for, 15 years or what have you? And listen, commitments are great. Time that we spend with people does mean something. But any amount of time that you spend in a connection that is consistently disrespectful, that consistently makes you feel used, that consistently makes you feel like you have to accommodate a certain container of what they need you to be, any amount of time that you invest moving forward, feeling disrespected and used is too much time, regardless of how much time has gone by. And I want you to know it's not a waste of time. No partnership or relationship or business partnership or what have you, they're never a waste of time. And sometimes when it comes to Libra energy and the fact that Saturn exalts in Libra, and maybe even the ruler of this lunar eclipse gathered with Saturn, there could be this energy around, but I've already invested all of these years. What a waste of time that would be if I threw in the towel now. And that's sunken cost fallacy, right? It's like you don't want to be in the same position feeling still disrespected and still used and still taken advantage of 5 years later, like that pressure around, well, it's been this many years, so I just got to stick it out and stick it out. Like it just continues. Again, I'm not advocating that everybody needs to end everything. Definitely give the other side of the scale the opportunity to rectify itself. But be conscious where it is that you are staying rooted in things because of the time invested or because you feel this sense of duty or obligation. Because it's not a waste of time. And I know that because the lunar eclipse trines Pluto, which is the planet of regeneration. So it's like you may be in this energy where you are looking at all of that love and that care and that compassion and that empathy that you poured into this person where ultimately went unused or the relationship ultimately failed. But it's not a failure. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. So all of that love that you poured in, you can pour back into yourself. And it wasn't a waste of time. You learned so much. You became the person that you are today. Alchemize that experience. See it as something that helped you tap into your own personal power. See it as a way that gave you more wisdom. See it as a way that you learned how powerful you are, how resilient you are. Maybe that relationship awakened certain things within you that you will take with you into the next connection. Maybe it sharpened into focus what it is that you want within a relationship, what it is that you want within a partnership. Nevertheless, take the lessons and keep it pushing. Like with the lunar eclipse trine Pluto, do not be afraid of keeping it pushing. Okay, keeping it going and growing, and just be like, thank you, next. It's so powerful to frame things through that thank you next. Like, thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for supporting me and becoming the person that I am. I'm not grateful that you took advantage of me and used me and consistently disrespected me, but I'm alchemizing this. I'm taking this wisdom with me forward. Thank you, next. I'm no longer in connections that feel like this any longer. No. Balance partnerships from here on out for me. Thank you. Next. So on Tuesday, March 26th, you might be saying, Haley Comet, now that the Libra lunar eclipse is complete, that means we're in the clear, right? And to that I say, not quite. You absolutely could be in the space of full moon recovery. And eclipses affect us very energetically. You may notice that you are exhausted sleeping all day long. You may notice you're having a hard time sleeping. You could notice you're super hungry. You could notice your appetite feels like it is evaporated. Like you could just feel a little wonky. Your emotions can feel more intense. My love, this is all eclipsitis. You've been diagnosed with eclipsitis if you've experienced any of these sensations. It's just a pretty intense energetic time. The more that you could just be intentional around taking care of yourself. We do not have that much earth earth within the cosmos. So just make sure that you are eating, that you're grounding down, that you're listening to what it is that your body's asking of you. Because when we talk about these themes around purging and releasing and shedding and letting go, not all of us are having these dramatic conversations with our bestie in an interior design business. Some of us are doing deep healing work. Like this energy of release, it's showing up in more subconscious ways. It's showing up in more so our emotional space. And sometimes when there is these major activations that eclipse season tends to bring, our body gets a little wonky, right? So it's important to be taking care of yourself. You might be doing some major work behind the scenes, work within your energetic body, within your subconscious mind, behind the scenes. And that's why your body is feeling so drained or in need of more nourishment or feeling wonky or what have you. So I just want to say, in case anybody feels wiped out, or also you could be feeling super activated, super energized, having a hard time sleeping, both are to be expected. But either way, the day after the eclipse is your Libra Lunar Eclipse recovery day, okay? A day to listen to your body, allow that intensity of the Libra Lunar Eclipse the day prior to begin to decrease in volume, right? We're still in eclipse season, so things are exaggerated, emotional, and intense, certainly, but you can feel slowly but surely you're starting to really ground down. You're starting to see things clearly. So just being gentle within that process. And I want to let you know that the time period between the Libra lunar eclipse the day prior to the day of the Aries solar eclipse, April 8th, is this faded eclipse window that I was talking about. So definitely pay attention to what opportunities come into your world, to what manifestations materialize, to what is departing your world, what doors are closing. There is a heightened feeling of significance with what happens around this time period. So be on it with your journaling, pay attention. As I highlighted earlier, there could be like one little sprinkle of a conversation that you have with a friend around, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we started an interior design business or what have you? And that could be the planting of a seed that will continue to build in momentum. So just looking at what transpires around eclipses as something that has a little bit more significance. That being said, when it comes to eclipses, I consider them listen and learn, wait and see. I don't like to do rituals during eclipses. I don't like to get involved during eclipses. If you know me and you know Magic Monday, you know I live my life regardless of the astrology. Like I'll travel during Mercury retrograde. I'll go outside during eclipses, even though in traditional astrology that was considered a no-no. We still have to live our lives. We can be aware of these cycles without feeling like we have to live in fear. So I just want to say, if you do happen to have something significant around eclipses, I wouldn't shift it or move it to try to get a different result or outcome. Like things that happen during eclipses are meant to happen. So if something happens to land, this major test, this major interview, this trip, or what have you, it is a significant time for it to land, and it might be part of a bigger story. So I typically don't recommend like shifting your plans to try to avoid eclipses, because if it just naturally, organically fell during eclipses, my love, that may be part of a broader story, okay? But with that being said, I don't love to do rituals. I don't love to force things during eclipses. Like your work is to pay attention, right? Journal, observe what's happening, but don't feel like you have to do all the cord cutting rituals. Don't even feel like you have to make all of the decisions right now. We have eclipse brain, so we're not seeing the world totally clearly. Plus, Mercury's in its pre-retrograde shadow phase. So there can be certain themes and stories that are being dropped in that will continue to be built upon. So your job is to pay attention, because you're getting foreshadows around what your Mercury retrograde story will be come April. And you're also getting foreshadows around what's ahead for the rest of the Aries Libra cycle that's playing out through the rest of 2024. So during eclipses, you don't have to do rituals, you don't have to change your plans, you don't have to do anything crazy. My advice would be just to pay attention, just to observe what's coming up. And not just in your external world, but also from within. And on Tuesday, the Libra moon opposes Chiron and Mercury, because the two of them conjoined last week. Make sure to check out last week's Magic Monday to get the tea on that. Like I said, a lot of us, what we're releasing, it's not so much things in the external. We could just be releasing old stories, old patterns, old wounded ways of relating to this world that we are getting out of our system during this time. Like maybe dynamics of why this partnership with Bethany played out in the way that it did is because you have a deep abandonment wound. So there's this energy around, if I can be the perfect person to Bethany, if I can go above and beyond for all of my clients, then no one will leave me. Then I won't be left, then I won't feel so vulnerable within this experience. And sometimes just having awareness, like that realization coming to the surface around, oh, that's where this comes from. Like, this is my inner child flailing and looking for, validation and acceptance. It doesn't take that pain away, but it does pave a pathway where when we understand where that energy is coming from, that's the first step towards healing that pattern. Because this Libra lunar eclipse, it's big around codependency. It's big around limerence. It's big around people pleasing. And a lot of those behaviors stem from something very deep. And that's why I'm saying Tuesday is a Libra lunar eclipse recovery day, because the moon's still pretty full. And with the moon opposing Chiron, there can be sore and raw aspects within yourself that this full moon is illuminating and pouring light into. And being patient with that, being patient with where it is that you are within your healing process. Forgiving yourself for the ways that you could have betrayed yourself within your connections. You were just trying to protect your inner child. You were just trying to do the best that you can. And now that you have that awareness that it's the wounded part of you that wants this person in your life, even if they're treating you badly or even if the connection is imbalanced, once you have awareness that that's the part of you that's making the decisions or is in the driver's seat of this partnership, you can begin to shift the leadership around. Okay, we love this part of me, but that's not going to be who's making the decisions in the partnership. Like the side of me that is strong and wants to advocate for what is best for me is going to take the wheel from here on out. Some of us is coming from within. There's epiphanies around, wow, this part of my childhood or my healing journey, my inadequacies, Chiron energy can go really deep, but there's like an awareness around how the hurt part of us might be infecting the connection itself or our connections, around the patterns that we have learned to try to cope or to try to not feel abandoned or to try to hide the parts of us that we deem unlovable, how that is infecting the connection. Because trying to be somebody's ideal does not a balanced connection make, nor a healthy connection make. And so when we have awareness around the part of us that makes us feel like we have to brush things under the rug and be the perfect person for the other person, we create the pathway forward to show up very authentically and very vulnerably, honestly, with the moon opposing Chiron. So for some of us, there is this healing light bulb moment around, aha, that's the part of me that is affecting this connection, or that's why I feel so triggered in scenarios like this. It goes to something deeper within me. Some of you may find that someone is very honest with you right now, and it hurts because Mercury is in Aries, and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so it has a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of passion, a lot of fieriness. But with Mercury being in Aries, a lot of us could be speaking before we fully thought. And with Mercury separating from Chiron, and again, that will be an ongoing story throughout the Mercury retrograde, some of the truths that are coming out, they're honest, but they could be painful. It's a little bit of a, ouch, I didn't know you felt that way. Or maybe I had a feeling you felt that way, but gosh, did you have to put it that carelessly or that bluntly? Like, geez. And I would just say, being cautious with your language. Again, never a proponent of living in fear. I believe this astrology is here to support us, but just being mindful, Mercury will revisit these degrees. So what it is that you are communicating or sharing may need to be answered for at a later time. So if you dole out an insult at work because someone caught you in the heat of the moment, or you leave a thoughtless comment under somebody else's Instagram that could be misinterpreted, that might come back around. And with Mercury in Aries, our words, we're operating on impulse and this very fiery nature, expressing exactly how we feel. That's one thing, is that with Mercury in Aries, we are figuring out how people feel about stuff, but it's coming through very directly and very sharply. And on Tuesday, there could be a little bit of ouch, ouch. Because there's aspects of even the conversation with Bethany where she might feel triggered. Like when you bring forth and say, I don't feel like you're doing enough. I'm doing this, that, and the third. Like she could respond in that triggered energy around, well, yeah, I'm the visionary, so it takes me more energy to think of the big picture. Like she could react from that triggered state of mind around feeling attacked. Or she can allow that moment to really choose her words carefully and to feel that hurt certainly, but also to really balance what is coming up for her with what it is that you are bringing forward, and not allowing that kind of like knee-jerk, lash out, wounded part of us take center stage or respond before we get the time to weigh things out and think about it. So just something to be cautious of. Honestly, the entire time Mercury is in Aries, being intentional with your words. I do believe being honest and direct is beneficial, but there can be the way that we're saying it that is missing some tact. So just something to keep in mind. On Wednesday, March 27th, we are navigating liminal space, right? In between these two eclipses, it's like old chapters, cycles, mindsets, stories, timelines are being closed out, right? That's the energy of the Libra Lunar Eclipse on the South Node. There's a deep awareness around what is leaving and departing our life. And for some of us, I'm seeing like a trapdoor sensation. You could have just felt like you're walking, then all of a sudden the ground underneath your feet disappeared and you are flailing and you're like, what is going on? But what I want to say is you will have a soft landing, okay? And you can trust in that. As concerning as it can feel when suddenly the ground that you were on is gone, you will be okay. And the reason why Wednesday's astrology feels like this is because the moon enters Scorpio at 2:03 a.m., going on to square Pluto around 5:30 a.m. So you could find you wake up just with knots in your stomach, just this feeling of anxiety. Like just this feeling around, okay, I feel that the universe is pushing me into the next chapter, but am I ready? I feel that the ground just all of a sudden was taken out from underneath my feet. Is there going to be a soft landing? Like I had shared earlier when I got let go on Zoom, just all of the anxiety around, how am I going to pay my bills? What's going to be the next step? Like there's definitely this feeling around, okay, certain chapters are closing and it's exciting when there is change because there's movement, but there's also such uncertainty around what we're stepping into. Like that's what the next eclipse is about, is around what we're stepping into. Right now, there's mostly a focus around what we are shedding, what is not going to support us in getting to where it is that we want to go. And the in-between is uncomfortable. And with a Scorpio moon square Pluto, you could be feeling out of control of your own life. You could be feeling out of control of your own emotions. Your emotions could be oscillating wildly between extremes. And there feels to be parts of Wednesday where you will find your footing. And this is because the Scorpio moon will trine its ruler, its traditional ruler, Mars in Pisces. And with this energy of Scorpio moon trining Mars in Pisces, it's feeling the feels. You know, the moon is in its fall in Scorpio, so it's feeling things intensely. We're not feeling too comfortable. We are plunged into the depths, right, of this experience. But with it trining Mars, we're remembering the times that we have rebirthed ourselves before or transformed ourselves before. And we're feeling empowered around, gosh, I remember when it felt like my life was over during this time of my life, but then that was setting me up for something better. Like this is an important day to have faith within the universe. As uncertain and as scary as things can feel right now, with the Scorpio moon trine Mars, it's courage coming from a spiritual source. So it's even just giving your worries up to God, like surrendering to the universe, surrendering to source energy, and feeling the courage that comes from that. Because we currently have the Sun and Mercury in Aries. Now we know Aries is very courageous, right? It's the first sign of the zodiac. It jumps into things. It's not fearful. And these Aries placements are answering to Mars and Pisces. So what is giving us this courage? What is giving us this, okay, heck yeah, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm ready for this new chapter. What's giving us this courage is this trust in this something more, or this trusting around, okay, the universe must have conspired this for me. Not against me, as scary as it can feel in the moment. This is setting me up for my next step. And how do I know that? I guess I don't know that, but I feel that. Like Mars in Pisces is about leading and being guided by your intuition, allowing that to give you courage. Because oftentimes, especially if things feel very topsy-turvy, you know, our anxious mind can be so loud. But underneath the surface with Mars and Pisces, there's just this hum around it's going to be okay. And we don't know that logically, but we know that. Like just settle into your soul space and feel that. In that aspect, the Scorpio moon trining Mars in Pisces, it happens around 9 a.m. So some of you could wake up just really anxious. Some of you could be feeling out of control and even trying to control someone else to feel more in control over your life. Like, you know, telling someone that you live with, like, oh, I hate it when you put the shoes like that. It's like minor, but you want control, and when the shoes aren't stacked in the way that you want, to you, it's just another element of your life that feels out of control. And you could be dishing out that behavior, you could be on the receiving end of it. There's just this energy where big stuff in our life is feeling out of control, so we're taking it out on the little things and trying to find control over something within our world. And our emotions can feel really intense, really polarizing at this moment. But with the energy of Scorpio moon trining Mars in Pisces, it's doing what it is that you can, taking action where your intuition is led, but also understanding when there's nothing that you can do and giving that over to God, universe, source energy to work that out. Okay, it's showing up to do what you can do to fix the situation. This is nice for motivation when it comes to Wednesday, just in terms of practicality, but also observing where you're obsessing over a situation or trying to plan the next steps where it's not serving you, because there's just things that we will not know until we get there, okay? Universe is orchestrating it. Universe is working it out. You just show up for what it is that you have to do on Wednesday. You don't have to figure it all out right now. And if anything, it's kind of exciting to be in that free fall when the ground beneath you falls and you're like, I don't know what's coming next. Like I shared earlier, that experience of being let go on Zoom, horrible experience, hated it, loved the person I worked for, and we had a close connection, and I was just so sad that this chapter was ending. And I also had legitimate concerns. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to move forward? But it was interesting because even though I had all this anxiety, there was also like this deep hum underneath the surface that felt excited and exhilarated, and it felt the space that this had opened up within my universe. And also intuitively knew that something was on the horizon, that this was being released for a reason. And as I highlighted in the beginning, like I would not be sitting here if that did not occur. And my mind didn't know that. I was freaking out. I was like trying to apply for different freelance things. I called my mom crying. I was a nightmare trying to figure it out. Like, what's my next step? What's my next step? But my soul knew the whole time. My soul knew deep down, getting away from the mind. My soul knew. I had no rational reason to trust that it would work out. But deep down, I was like, you're going to be just fine. Because source knew, hey, this is going to be the last like freelance contract you have. From here on out, you're going to be, self-employed. It's all going to align even more beautifully than you could have designed it. And source energy was communicating to my soul. Our mind can't always grasp what source energy is plotting and aligning on our behalf. So tune into that hum underneath the surface, and also follow your instincts. If you felt drawn to talk to a certain client today, work on a certain project, post a certain piece of content, allow your soul space to guide you. It's very powerful, okay? All the time, but especially when Mars is in Pisces. Because listen, Spirit can give you the nudge, but it can't make you do the thing. So on Wednesday, if you get a nudge, do the thing. On Thursday, March 28th, we have Venus in Pisces, sextile Uranus in Taurus. So a great day, a great week at that, to be open to the unexpected. Be open to people surprising you. That's why this week's vibe check is rather optimistic. You brought these concerns forward to Bethany and you redistributed the money split within your connection. Because the Libra Lunar Eclipse brought to our awareness like, hey, there's something that feels a little off. There's something that doesn't feel quite right. There's something that feels imbalanced. There's something that feels lopsided. And with Venus sextile Uranus, it's believing that people can change. It's still putting an end to a cycle. It's a Libra lunar eclipse, so in South Node, it's putting an end to that cycle of not feeling that it was safe for you to advocate for within your business partnership, and it's starting of a new cycle. So not everyone is going through a friendship breakup or cutting off a family member or something of that nature. Some of you are putting to rest an ongoing issue or an ongoing energetic that you've been feeling within your connections. And with Venus sextile Uranus, believing that your connection can change, that you can bring forward a certain matter and intentionally proceed with that data and with that awareness and growing as a union, growing as a couple. I think that's one of the best green flags within a relationship is when you bring something to the surface around, hey, this is where I feel disrespected. Hey, I'm not appreciating this, or hey, I need more of this. And that individual integrates what your side of the scale needs and grows forward. And genuinely, it's lasting change. It's not like on good behavior and then back to the same thing. Genuinely takes that insight forward and continues growing. Believe in that. And if you're not in a connection that will honor your side of the scale and make the appropriate changes in order for you to feel more balanced, it may be time to find a different scale. Because, I will say that Venus sextile Uranus It is a great time to meet people, okay? We've got Venus in exaltation with its sextiling Uranus. New individuals could be entering your life. Like I said about eclipse windows, is that there's fated entrances and exits. Some people could be reconnecting with someone from your past. I'm just gonna say it, okay? I'm not the your ex is coming back sort of astrologer, but we've got Mercury in its pre-retrograde shadow. We just had an eclipse on the South Node, which does have to do with the past. Uranus about the unexpected. Some of you can hear from someone from the past. And if it does happen, like I said, it's a fated time, but I'm not saying people who are coming back are meant to, be our forever or anything of that nature. When we talk about the sign Libra, we talk about contracts, we talk about justice. And so sometimes there's a loop within a certain connection, there's some karma, there's something that needs to be balanced, there's something that needs to be rectified within a situation in order for you both to move on, whether it's, forgiveness, whether it's one more conversation, whether it's a lesson that you need to learn so this person is resurfacing in order for you to learn it. This person could awaken something within you that helps you in your pathway forward. Again, I feel like when someone from our past pops up, especially when there's retrograde stuff going on, it's so rarely about the person. It's so rarely about, well, this is your person, you've got to be with them forever. Oftentimes it's who you were within that particular partnership. So if someone pops up, really observe, is there a pattern within this connection that I'm releasing with this Libra lunar eclipse? Is there a version of myself and how I operated within this connection that I'm releasing with this Libra lunar eclipse? Is there a part of me that's been holding out a candle for the situation that I need to release with this Libra lunar eclipse? Like, there can be elements from your past resurfacing, dreams, messages, whatever it is. And I don't want you to make it about them, okay? Because it's Aries season, okay? Like, we're here to connect, but always take that moment to sharpen into focus. Like, do I want this person back into my life? What did I learn about myself through this connection? Who was I in this relationship? It's really allowing yourself to have that presence, because I just feel like when we're moving through a lot of Libra energy, we also have Venus, obviously an exaltation of Pisces, but that's a doozy, okay? You guys know how I feel about that one. There could be a tendency to just lose ourselves in love or make it about the other person. Around this person came back, so I need to be with them. Ask yourself, do I want to be with them? Like, center yourself, center your needs, your desire, your intentions moving forward, and ask yourself that question. So that's only going to be a couple of people within the collective, but it does feel like something that is alive here. It could be showing up in dreams or reviewing old letters or something of that nature. Again, there is an emphasis around clearing out loops of the past, balancing of karmic contracts. So there definitely could be some of that. For some of you, it's new people. Venus sextile Uranus. This is new people, even people outside of your typical type. This could be random meetings, unexpected meetings. There could be random moments of sweetness, okay, on Thursday, because sextile is a very soft flow of influence. So this is not like the craziest aspect ever, but there's a soft flow to have unexpected sweetness within your day and unexpected miracles as well with the moon aspect, as the moon opposes Jupiter and Uranus, who are building to align. They will align in April. Let me know if you want a video on the Jupiter conjunction to Uranus, because that's a big one. I'm super excited about it, and I would happy to do an all signs forecast if you guys are interested in it. But alas, a big part of these two planets aligning in the Taurus part of the sky is being open to unexpected blessings and miracles, and being open to random opportunities. And so if a door closed, someone left you, you left someone, like something in your life departed, there's a lot of new random energy that could come into your life. It's giving me this energy around, leaving someone or breaking things off with somebody because you just had this strong intuitive pull that like the relationship was done. You were tired of things feeling lopsided and imbalanced. And then you meet someone who wants you to travel the world with them. And had they asked you that, 3 weeks prior, you wouldn't have been able to. But because you have this new freedom within your life, you're able to say yes. But again, when we are so focused on, this person, I know they're not right for me, but I miss them, I want this back, we're not seeing the potential that new people and opportunities and energy can be entering our life. So yes, there is a focus this week on release, but also with the Venus sextile Uranus, don't forget to look around, okay? Don't forget to look around at who it is that you are meeting, at the opportunities that could be coming up, and outside of love, money with Venus sextile Uranus, unexpected ways to make money, new ways to make money, new ways of dividing money, to take it to the vibe check. There could be just random moments of sweetness, random moments of beauty. And with Venus sextile Uranus, like doing something spontaneous to treat yourself, okay? You deserve it. This happens in the morning time at 6:58 a.m. So maybe buy yourself a donut, try a new coffee shop, maybe go for a run on the beach before you go to work. I don't know. Infuse some new loveliness into your morning. I've been super intentional lately about taking myself on dates, and it has enriched my life in so many beautiful ways. Just taking myself out on dates. Like last night, I had a lot on my mind, so I was like, I just need to go to Sunset Cliffs. If you know, you know, in San Diego, Sunset Cliffs is the most magical place. So I went to Sunset Cliffs. I had my little astrology blanket. I had my books. I had my cards. I had my journaling. I had my music. And I just took in the waves, and I meditated, and I read, and I journaled. And then after that, I stopped and I got some sushi and this like fancy craft soda type beat. And I just felt so loved. I felt like I was really cherishing and nourishing myself with that evening. Typically, that's not something I would do alone. I would go with a friend or something of that nature, but sometimes you just gotta appreciate yourself. And if you don't do that, Venus sextile Uranus on Thursday would be a great day to start. Or buy yourself flowers, or buy yourself new lip gloss, or gift yourself the gift of a sunset. Okay, find a new way to pour some love towards yourself, pour some love to somebody else if you'd like. So the energy I was saying around being open to miracles on Thursdays, because we have that unexpected Uranus energy that could be bringing in unexpected money, unexpected love, unexpected moments of beauty and sweetness. We also have the Scorpio moon opposing Jupiter and opposing Uranus. So there's unexpected ease coming into our experience. Honestly, what it's giving me is when you kind of have plans that you don't want to go to and then the other person cancels or you're gearing up for a meeting and then the technology is not working, so the meeting's off. Like, it's almost giving that energy around something unexpectedly works out. And even if you're dealing with a major problem, and again, the Scorpio moon, you could be obsessing about a little bit, allow yourself to contemplate, what if it does work out? What if it just randomly works out? Like, work that muscle around contemplating. What if it just randomly works out? What if the universe is working on it on my behalf and I don't need to worry about it any longer? That might just be something to play with if something does feel to be out of your control. But with the Scorpio moon trining Saturn in Pisces at 4:11 a.m., but with the energy of the Scorpio moon trining Saturn in the morning time, there is lots that's in our control. So it's showing up to do your due diligence around what is in your control. Allow it to ground you, allow it to give you some comfort, even if things to a big picture, you're like, what is going on? You can control this moment and the task that you need to do, and Saturn is giving you the foresight, the diligence in order to focus one thing at a time. And then around 8:02 p.m., the Scorpio moon trines Venus in Pisces. So great evening to connect. Would be a great night for a date night, especially since the Scorpio moon is also building to trine Neptune. Feels like a very dreamy, intimate date night. Great date night with candlelight and just looking deeply into one another's eyes and telling one another secrets and, bonding on that deep soul level. It would be a great evening for that. Or again, maybe you're bonding on a soul level with yourself, taking yourself on a date. There's just a deep desire to plunge beneath the surface of superficiality and really get to what means something to you, what makes your soul feel connected to something bigger, what connects you to your soul space even deeper. On Friday, March 29th, don't you feel that Friday's Venus days are just sprinkled with a little extra loveliness? That's what Friday is giving. It definitely won't be very productive, but there's a deep desire to want to enjoy life. And with the energy of the Scorpio moon trining Neptune, you could be deeply immersed in the music that you're listening to. You could have a morning journaling session that just opens up your soul space. You could be really merging into a yoga class that's making you feel connected to the something more. There's just an energy with the Scorpio moon trying Neptune and Pisces. Sure, we could be feeling emotional. Okay, that's par for the course with both eclipse season as well as the Scorpio moon. With the trine to Neptune, sometimes we can get a little caught up in the delulu. Okay, like I said, there's not a lot of earth, so remember to ground down. But sometimes getting swept away in fantasy and imagination, it makes life worth living. It's important to say, we've still got Venus and Mars Mars in Pisces. Sometimes we need some fantasy, we need some imagination, and Friday sort of feels like one of those days, particularly in the morning time. So the closing aspect of the Scorpio moon is the trine to Neptune. That happens around 8:40 a.m. The moon is void until it enters Sagittarius at 12:52 p.m., which Sagittarius gives us this adventurous, optimistic energy as we move into our weekend, where maybe the Libra lunar eclipse was intense for you. You could have cried, you could have purged, you could have released a lot, but there's this energy and it's charged in the air, if you can feel it. There's this energy of possibility. Okay, we feel it in spring, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. And with the moon entering Sagittarius, there's this desire to attune to the big picture. Because some of us, with the Libra lunar eclipse, we were shedding and releasing and grieving something very painful. And you might still find, as you navigate the week, you might still find that you're still feeling into that. And it's not that the Sagittarius moon takes that away. It just feels like a turning point around finding more hope and more optimism. Like the first portion of the week, you could be more so focused on what doors are closing, what people are departing, what's not working, where you're experiencing contrast. And it feels like the energy of Sagittarius moon, not that the universe has a magic wand and makes everything better, but there's a feeling around, what if it could be okay? Like that first whisper after a breakup, when you have that just a little bit of hope. It's like so much dread and misery, but then when there's that sprinkle of hope around, what if I could be okay? What if this could actually be good for me? What if this freedom isn't so much isolating as it can be empowering? So it's not taking away what it is that we're moving through and letting go of, but there does feel like with the moon entering Sagittarius, again, fire sun, fire moon, there does feel like this return to hope and optimism. And even if we're not at the answers, the Sagittarius moon is open to explore them, open to have a fun weekend. And it's giving us a sense of power with the Sagittarius moon sextile Pluto. Now, Sagittarius is very adventurous, it's very big picture. The Sagittarius moon will also square Mars that evening. So you could be feeling more drained, more blah whenever there's moon Mars stuff. Sometimes you can even be feeling more frustrated. You might not even know why with Mars and Pisces. It definitely feels like a Friday where there's a return to hope. Okay, we see that with the moon trining Neptune, connecting to our soul space, moon entering Sagittarius, beginning to believe that tomorrow could be a good day or that a new chapter could be on the way, and feeling more powerful as a result. On Saturday, March 30th, great day for an adventure, but it's important to not feel discouraged should you meet an obstacle on said adventure, okay? Because we have the Aries sun trining Sagittarius moon, so we're open, ready to explore. We might not be at the destination, but we're open to chart the course. We're open to go on a journey. Like that's the very nature of Sagittarius, is this desire to follow our own arrow and arrive to our own sense of meaning and to adventure, whether that is traveling or mentally learning different things, spiritually expanding. There's just a desire to feel like we're moving forward in life. And the eclipse story varies, but for some, there's a lot that's leaving or departing, or there's sad endings, there's sad releasings, and it just feels like there is this sharpening into awareness around, okay, there's space here. And sometimes freedom can feel daunting, but it can also feel expansive. So it'd be a great day to take yourself on an adventure. And with the moon squaring Saturn, there can be certain bummers peppered into your Saturday. And part of the work is to move through it and understand you got yourself through it. You got yourself through it. That's the gift of this energy, is that when you conquer challenges, when you conquer obstacles, whether these are of an emotional nature, a family nature, a career nature, whatever it is, when you conquer and overcome challenges, no one can take that from you. And when it comes to this Aries season energy, it's about understanding how courageous and how powerful you are as an individual. A lot of us are dissolving this notion that our worth is fundamentally only into what we are for others, the partner that we are, the friend that we are, the sister that we are. We're here to connect. It's not saying that's a bad thing, but with that lunar eclipse opposing Neptune, it's where we dissolve and lose our sense of autonomy within those roles that we play for others. And it's important to honor that you are a powerful individual. You have picked yourself back up after hard experiences, and you will this time as well. Like I said, I went on that date. I took myself on a date to Sunset Cliffs, and I watched the sunset. Obviously, it was so beautiful. And I was by myself, which I'm typically not, especially when I go there. And I'd found this new trail, and it was starting to get dark, and I had this moment of panic. like pure panic, because I didn't know where I went. I couldn't find where exactly I had parked. And I just had this moment around, oh gosh, it's going to be dark. This is why I shouldn't do things on my own. I can't navigate this world on my own. I always need somebody with me. Like that moment of feeling lost made me spiral into this energy around how I'm not a capable, competent individual on my own, and I can't find my own path and chart my own course, and that I always need someone there. But before buying into that or feeding that too much energy, I just took a deep breath and said, okay, we're not sure where exactly the trail is, but we're gonna figure it out. You're a smart girl, Haley. I know you're here on your own, and typically you're not on your own, and you're bad with direction, but you can do this. You can do this. And I did find my way, clearly. I made it out of Sunset Cliffs, and no one can take that from me. I didn't call and phone a friend. I didn't freak out. I didn't sit down and cry. I charted my own course. And it's not a bad thing if you reach out for help, or I could have asked someone for directions, but it was empowering that I was like, no, I got myself back to my car. I can take myself on dates. I can go for hikes. I can, last month I was traveling Thailand on my own. Like, I can figure things out. And sometimes we can get into this loop around, I can't do this without a partner, what have you. But with the energy of Aries season, it's important to highlight that the zodiac wheel is representative of a life cycle. And Aries is the first breath of life. It's the cosmic child. And we come into this planet alone, and we will pass alone. Again, surrounded by love and being able to connect with many different souls. But ultimately, this journey is your own. This course that you are charting is your own. And part of Aries season is building up your self-trust, so that as you enter into relationships and partnerships, you know you will not abandon yourself. You know you will not betray yourself. You know you will not get into connections where you will allow things to get so terribly lopsided, because you won't check out from yourself. You'll be present enough to bring that weight back to your side, or to prioritize the relationships in which the scales are balanced. It's trusting in yourself and trusting in your instincts and trusting in your autonomy. So Saturday is a great day to go for an adventure. With the moon squaring Saturn, you could be feeling a little bit of a bummer energy. There could be responsibilities getting in the way, but this too shall pass, and see it as a challenge. See it as an adventure. And the overcoming of those obstacles can be healing, because the Sagittarius moon is building to trine Chiron. It doesn't exact until Sunday at midnight-ish, but that can be healing to know that you overcame those hurdles and those obstacles. And I know my hiking example is so silly, like, girl, you're gonna find your way back to your car. But those are the moments, those are the moments that fill you up with self-doubt and make you feel like, can I navigate this world on my own? And it's important in those moments to just reassure yourself, I'm strong, I'm capable, I'm competent, I got this. And that can be healing in itself. On Sunday, March 31st, firstly, happy Easter if anybody celebrates. The Sagittarius moon will trine Chiron in the early morning time. And so there can be healing waves of energy coming into our experience. There could be indecision, and it could be showing up on very mundane levels, not being sure what to eat, not being sure how to spend your day with the Sagittarius moon square Venus in Pisces. You could be fantasizing about all of these different ways that you could spend your day, or all the things that you want to do, but you're just kind of like staying in bed on your phone. That could be part of it. With the energy of Sagittarius moon square Venus in Pisces, there could be problems with excess. On Sunday, we also see that with the Sagittarius moon square Neptune in Pisces, meaning to just watch one TikTok and you watch 2,000. Meaning to just watch one movie and you watch 20. Meaning to just eat half a bag of M&Ms and eating 3 bags. Like, there definitely can be this more sensation, especially when it comes to Venusian matter. So anything pleasurable, anything sweet. The Sagittarius moon will trine Mercury in Aries though on Sundays. So all I'm saying is watch your mouth, okay? The two most honest signs, I would say, are Sagittarius and Aries, and they're making a little trine. So it feels like helpful truth that's helping us progress forward, truth that's setting us free. Again, this could be coming up in journaling or conversations, but it's definitely honest. It's definitely blunt. I'll say that. And like I said, the Sagittarius moon squares up with Neptune around 5:16. So you could just notice a drop in energy towards the latter part of the day. You could even be dealing with Sunday scaries, or just an energy of anxiety kind of looming over you. You could be feeling more drained, just wanting to check out, watch lots of movies, drink lots of wine. Reality could feel to be a lot. Okay, but reality does catch up, because at 9:06 p.m. the moon will enter Capricorn, which is the sign of its detriment, which just does bring our awareness to reality and obligations and duties. Like the Sagittarius moon squaring Neptune in Pisces didn't want to deal with any of that, right? Get me into my own world, get me into Netflix, get me into TikTok, get me into a different world. I don't want to think about my responsibilities and obligations, but it feels like later on in the night, you're like, ooh, I do have that meeting this week and I do have that to handle. And the moon will be void from around 5-ish to 9-ish. So when the moon's void, important tasks we must avoid. But you won't even be in the mood to do important tasks, honestly, with the Sagittarius moon square Neptune in Pisces. You're in the mood to dream, to pray, to meditate, to do a tarot card reading, to take a bath is the vibe. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is I maintain balanced, equitable partnerships. When it comes to this affirmation, we cannot control how people show up. We cannot control how Bethany responds when you say, hey, this is not equal. Something's got to shift. This partnership is imbalanced. We cannot control the outcome of what happens when we bring these concerns up within a relationship and a partnership. All we have control over is the energy we bring, what it is that we vocalize, and whether or not we choose to remain in that partnership. That's all we have control over. We don't have control over how the other person will respond, which is why the affirmation isn't all of my partnerships are balanced, because we don't have control over that. We can't control whether somebody chooses to put forth the same amount on their scale that we're putting on ours to make it balanced. And it's also not always so transactional. Like sometimes what it is that we contribute to relationships is different, but energy is the same. Even if somebody, contributes more finances and somebody contributes more domestic labor, it's still energy being exchanged and they're still of equal value and of equal weight on the scales. It's just when somebody is in that dynamic around taking, that the scales get lopsided. So it's not saying we have to both contribute the same, talents and skills, because that's the point of connection, is for it to be complementary. But it should feel like a symbiosis. It should feel like a flow, like a give and take. And within this affirmation, I maintain balanced and equitable partnerships. There's this emphasis upon this word maintain, because part of our relationships is how we show up. Aries sun, Libra moon. It's not just saying this is the wrong person for me. It's also observing what are the habits and tendencies within me that have contributed to this pattern within my business relationship with Bethany or within this romantic relationship. Because oftentimes if we just get out of this particular relationship, we can find the same issues arise within the next one. Relationships, connections are such wonderful life school for us to learn these lessons around how it is that we can maintain balance within partnerships, how it is that we need to work on communication, or how it is that we need to work on the energy within our relationship to maintain equitable, balanced partnerships. And again, all we have control over is our energy, what it is that we communicate, and whether or not we choose to be there. So also this energy around I maintain balanced and equitable partnerships. That is the standard. That is the expectation. And that is what I'm maintaining. I'm not maintaining imbalanced partnerships where it is so lopsided and I've vocalized it over and over and over again and nothing is changing. I'm not maintaining that. I'm not putting my energy into that. No, I maintain balanced and equitable partnerships. Those are the gardens that I'm watering. That is what is getting my energy. That is what is getting my attention. So that is the aim when it comes to this week's astrology. My loves, if you made it to the end of the video, let me know by dropping the word scales below or using the scale emoji to let me know that you made it to the end. My Instagram handle is @HaleyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there and connect with you down there as well. How is eclipse season going? Give me the tea. What's been coming up? I would love to know. Reminder that our first Self-Care Astrology 2024 group class will be held this Thursday, March 28th at 10 a.m. PDT. Check out the link within the pinned comment and within the description to join within this collective. I'm telling you, it's such a special gathering of individuals, and I'm so excited to be teaching classes all this year around how it is that we can utilize our birth charts, our transits, in order to live our most aligned, magical lives. So we'd love to have you part of that if you feel so called. But until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.